What's up guys, Coach Leo here, and I'm gonna talk to you guys about something that really bothers me when I see people do it. It's how not to squat. Now there's 4 ways how not to squat that I'm gonna talk about today. And the first one is allowing your knees to go too far forward. I see this a lot for people who are just starting out. If you're just starting out to go to the gym, it's New Year's, or you're just getting into a new program, a lot of times what happens is you end up squatting and your knees go too far forward. The problem with that is that you have all your weight shifted forward and you're doing a bad form, which will eventually lead to knee pain, and again, you're limiting your gains because you're not squatting correctly. So the best way to do this is if you're just starting out, use a bench. Push your hips back, squat, and touch the bench with your butt, so that way you know your knees aren't gonna pass forward past your toes. Number 2 is the heels coming off the ground. A problem why the heels come off the ground is that you're really tight in your calves. So you have lack range of motion or lack of mobility in the ankle. So what ends up happening is when you squat down, as you get to the lower part, as into lower end of the squat, your heels come off the ground because of lack of flexibility. The best way to go about this is to first start stretching your calf and rolling it so that way you can gain flexibility. But an immediate way to fix that issue is to put small weights underneath your heels, so that way you could still do the squat properly without causing any issues of, again, going back to the first way not to do a squat, of your knees going too far forward. So putting weights underneath your heels is a good way to fix issue number 2. Issue number 3 is your chest going too far forward. Now, this happens a lot when people are putting weight on their back. Now, I have my opinions on back squats, and they're great. They're a good tool, but it's a little too much risk versus reward. So what ends up happening is when people do back squat and they load the bar on their back, the number 1 issue that I see is that their chest drops right away. Their chest drops so far forward, it almost looks like they're doing an RDL or a deadlift. To me, that's the wrong way to do a squat, or anybody else who teaches you how to do a squat and is okay with that, they should be slapped across the face, or let me know, I'll come and slap them across the face, because that's just horrible. So the first and foremost thing that I would tell you to do is when you're doing squats and that's your problem, you're lacking strength and stability in your core. So you need to work on core stability and back strength, so that way you don't end up leaning too far forward. And if it's not an issue of core strength, then it's an issue that your form is falling too far forward. Try to keep something in line so that way you can keep your chest up, not completely upright, but at least at that 90-degree or 45-degree angle, so that way when you squat and you get to that parallel to the floor, your chest isn't too far forward. Your 4th way not to squat is standing too wide. The problem with standing too wide is your knees start to cave in and they don't follow the track of your feet. Now, there's certain times when you want to take a wide stance, like in a sumo squat or in a sumo deadlift. That's perfectly fine, but your knees are still following the track of your toes and your feet. Now, when you stand wide and you try to do a squat and your knees knock in, that's where, again, you're coming into an issue where you're gonna end up injuring yourself, or you're gonna strain something, or you're gonna do something even worse because you're compensating where your quads should be doing most of the work, and you're giving yourself a disadvantage by standing too wide, and then your knees and your groin and all these other muscles that shouldn't be working and firing at these wrong times are doing something wrong at that point. So the best way to go about it is bringing the stance a little bit. And if you do like a wider stance, that's fine. Just make sure that your knees, again, follow the track of your toes. It's important that you pay attention to that, because again, you want to avoid injury. So again, I'm going to go over the list. Number 1, don't allow your knees to go too far forward. Number 2, don't allow the heels to come off the ground. Number 3, don't allow the chest to go too far forward. And number 4, don't let your feet go too wide and your knees drop too far inside. Allow them to track the inside of your feet. All right, guys, if you like this video and you want more, and if you like this Deadpool shirt, hit that like button and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when we post more videos.